Hello everyone, I am Kayalvuri. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to quickly go through a quick guide for you to fill in IIM's application. Now, all of us have filled enough number of applications in our lives. We know what to do and what not to do. But this is to highlight some of the areas in this application particularly that you should not overlook or that could be confusing that many people have asked me doubts about. So come on, let us actually create an ID, open up a dummy application and really see what is in the application portal step by step.
Hello everyone. So once you have created your profile in the registration tab over here, sign in with your username and the password in the space over here, right? So once after you have signed in, you can see a lot of tabs over here wherein in each tab you need to fill in different sets of information. And before jumping into the main tabs over here, let's go through the instructions page first. I see three important points that are mentioned in the instructions page. Number one is only completed application will be reviewed by the admissions committee, right? So this is number one important point. uh, Whenever you complete the information in each of the tabs, I mean complete filling the information in each of the tabs over here, uh, every tab after you filling in all the necessary details, it will turn into a green mark, right? So you need to make sure that all of your tabs here turns green before you hit your final submission button over here, right? So only when you complete your applications in all of the tabs, your application will be considered for reviewing, right? That's number one. Number two is uh, do make a note of the email of the PGPX office directly. So it's pgpxquery@ima.ac.in. That's number two. The third most important point that I see here is your application will not be evaluated until you submit it, right? So you can read this in two ways. Number one is you need not worry if your partially filled or unfilled application will be opened up or reviewed in between by any of the AdCom team. That's not going to happen, right? Number two is um, only when you finish all your filling in all your details and then hitting your submit button, that's when the place your application will be reviewed. uh, uh, we need not assume that we have just filled in our application and we have forgot to hit the submit button. No, in that case it's not going to be reviewed. It will not be considered as an application itself, right? So these are the 3 points that I see to be important in the home page of the PGPX application portal, right? So let's go into our first tab, general information. Okay, so the first tab, general information. The registered details here, it will be pulled from the details that you gave while during signing up your profile, right? In the general information tab, I would ask you to have two things handy while filling up the general information. Number one is your GMAT score sheet, right? If you have your GMAT score sheet handy, make sure you have it ready while filling up the details to have it uploaded. Or else, if you are yet to give your GMAT score and you're submitting your application before that itself, you can skip this tab and then probably fill in your other details, right? The second important file that I want you to have handy is your photograph. They're specifically asking for a very recent photograph of less than 1 month old, right? Do ensure that the photograph is in the JPG or JPEG format, right? The usual picture formats. Um, The other things are very common. Your complete mailing address, city, state, and the country. If you want your mailing address and the permanent address to be the same, you can use this tab to just copy paste the same information, right? So a very basic, a very general tab. Let's move to the next tab, qualification. Okay, so the next tab is your qualification tab. Uh, Here you need to mention your undergraduation and if in case you have a post-graduation degree. So those are the education details that you need to mention over here, right? So give add education and then probably you have a list of choices. You have to pick bachelor's degree or master's degree, whichever is respective. Please pick that. Mention your specialization. Um, if it is engineering or BTech, choose whatever it is. Specialization is, say, for example, computer science and engineering. I choose this. Medium of instruction, English. Mode of study, say, for example, full time. Course completion is done, completed, right? From which year? I did from 2007. uh, March, April. This is not very specific. The month can be one a month more or less. And 2011, right? Month again can be March, April, May, anything. Institute, mention your college's name. Uh, just giving my college name over here. Mention the university name, right? Country, pick your country and your state. Sorry. And the city as well, right? The important point to note here is to mention your result type. Most of us would have in percentage. If not specified in exact percentage, give a GPA choice if your college is provided in GPA. Do ensure that your total range of GPA is in the provided list over here, right? So if your GPA is out of 4, provide whatever score you have got out of your 4 GPA, right? Next important space where you have to upload your relevant documents. Say for example, if you're uploading your relevant, your documents for your bachelor's degree, make sure you upload all of your certificates and your degree for your bachelor's degree, right? Ensure that each of the file is 2 MB or less and is in the following formats. Make sure it is not password protected also, right? Um, if in case you need to add your probably your master's degree, you have space here to add new education details that will add as line 2. It will have the same application, same space as what was given here, right? The other important point to notice is do not mention any certification that you have done in while during your work or while during your course of study, right? So, for example, any sort of PMP certificates or Six Sigma certifications that you have, there's a separate column in the forthcoming tabs. That is a place where you need to mention the education details are very specific to your undergraduation and post graduation, right? So let's move to next tab, employment. All right, so the next tab is the employment details tab. So in employment details, you have two sections. Number one is employment experience and your international exposure, right? So first of all, only your full-time and paid work experience should be entered as your employment experience, right? The internships that you have done, any sort of pro bono activities that you have done, apart from your regular work, those should not be included in your employment experience, right? So when you are supposed to enter your first employment experience, give this add current employment. Uh, let's randomly fill some uh, examples over here, just giving some engineer functional area, say for example consulting, private sector, say this India, dot IBM.com, right? Working since 2011, just giving us an example. Yeah, um, this space, the managerial position space, uh, we do have a lot of confusion if a managerial position uh, means that if people are reporting to you or you are doing an appraisal to your reportees, right? To me personally, I would say if you, even if you are a team leader, you can mention that you are in a managerial position. I think the AdCom needs to are checking upon your managerial capabilities, and if you have had any relevant experience as a manager. I think that's what they're trying to look in from the space over here, right? So to me, my assumption is if I have led a team, if I have worked as a team lead, or if I've led a project, and if I had team members under me, then I would definitely put a yes over here, and the number of people reporting to me as the number of people, or the number of team members I have had in my team. So that's how I read the statement. If you still there is some sort of confusion, or you're not convinced with what exactly do this statement mean or the question mean, please do write to the PGPX office and get it clarified, right? Yeah, so say for example, I give annual gross salary, and I give my area of expertise, right? Um, Name of the person I reported to. Just mention some name, designation, and contact numbers, right? Okay, so one common question that people would have is a difference between responsibilities during job and your major accomplishments during job, right? So let's take an example of this. To sell a product in your company for a particular financial year is a responsibility in your job, right? Whereas what you have achieved under that responsibility will be your accomplishment. Say here in this example, I've sold 100,000 products in that particular year of that product will be my accomplishment that is related to my job responsibility. So, right? Please to make note of the character limit, 1,000 characters. It's just hardly a paragraph of about 7 or 8 lines. So make sure you put it very brief and to the point, right? I would always prefer to put it in bullets. Yeah, if you are convinced with that, you can probably put it in bullets, right? Upload an relevant document over here. Probably your joining letter, if you are mentioning about your current employment experience, or your pay slip, right? You can upload any relevant document about your current experience over here, right? Do mention if you have any of the required thing with you. If you have it available, please to mark it yes, and give your declarations, right? All right, okay. Once you have uploaded your document, go and hit save, right? And then probably after this, you can add your previous employment experience details, give add employment again, and then you can start filling in on the same set of details related to your previous employment, right? It's the same thing. The other difference that we see here is your reason for leaving. Have it crisp and to the point, probably in a sentence or two, and then fill in your necessary details, right? Um, Yep, once all giving it all, just uh, click the button here, certify that the information is in this page is about full-time work experience, and then hit the save button, right? So that's it about employment experience. In the international exposure, all that you have to check is this point, right? You need to make sure that your international trip is for full-time work and you are paid for that, right? Any trip on related to seminars or workshops or any other business trips, they are not considered as international exposure. Even if you are working full time for very less amount of period, even for a week, then you can probably enter it. But the work needs to be a full time, and it has to be a paid work, right? So do make sure that you are entering only those conditions as your international experience, right? So yeah, that's it about the employment tab. Okay, so the next important tab is the achievements tab, right? So in achievements, you have three sections. Number one is awards and prizes, right? So in awards and prizes, uh, though the AdCom has asked us to mention, please mention all the awards and recognitions you would have received during your acad as well as professional career. I would still insist to not mention any specific awards or prizes that are not of very much significance, right? Say, for example, winning in a running race or a singing competition in very early stages in the school. I would definitely not suggest to put it over here. Give on and achievement, mention what was the award that you have got, what is the prize, what whom did the prize was given, and which year, country, state, and all these basic details. Accomplishment, be very brief and to the point. Though the characters limit is 1,000 characters, do mention it in a line or two. Say what, for what reason was the prize given to you or the award given to you. You will definitely have time or chance to mention it briefly in the interview, right? So that's one important point. Uh, the next section is the extracurricular activities, right? Uh, the AdCom has asked us to mention any of our participation or contribution in any club or association while during our school, colleges, or in our career, right? I would still say that anything that has very high significance or a very high impact in your professional or in your academic time, do mention it. Not just a simple visit to an NGO or an one-day trip to any other place. Please do not mention it over here as an extracurricular activity, right? You should be having some amount of stories to tell the AdCom people while during the interview, and it should have a good impact in your career or in your academic time, right? So there is also specific video that Kyle has released in the channel, mentioning about what needs to be, what can be shown as an curricular activity. And probably you can go through that video and probably get more insights into it, right? Uh, the next tab is self-career improvements. Um, right, so any professional qualifications, certifications, or a training that you have done in the past. uh, yeah, as I said before, all your PMP certifications, Lean Six Sigma, or any other certifications provided by a professional body can be given or mentioned over here. The other thing that is most common in recent time is the MOOC certifications, examples like Udemy, Coursera, Upgrad. So those certifications can also be mentioned over here. Do make a note that they are relevant to your career, or they are relevant to your profile, or your probably your post MBA goals, right? I don't think you necessarily need not necessarily mention all of your certifications that you have mentioned here. Be very specific what is relevant to your MBA. You can probably mention it over here. It'll definitely boost your image with respect to your career improvement efforts, right? So that is one thing. The other suggestion that I would wanted to give you people is uh, before writing down or listing down your awards or prizes or your extracurriculars, whatever it may be, I would say please populate them in a separate spreadsheet, have them sorted in a chronological order, review them, revisit them once, twice, thrice, delete or knock them off for whichever you feel they are not having a significant impact. Shortlist some of them and then probably fill in with the details that you have finalized in the spreadsheet, right? So that will be an easy copy paste process instead of you coming here and then navigating in the tabs that are very new to you, but then having your details filled in a comfortable Excel sheet would be very much easy for you to fill the application form, right? So that is one point that I wanted to mention while filling your application, right? The next tab will be your declaration tab. So here the important point is to upload your scanned copy of the passport and also the scanned copy of your signature, right? To the maximum, do not take a picture of your signature. Try to have a clean scanned copy of your signature so that it's very legible, and then upload it over here, right? Put in the place and then you can save this and probably once you move to the final submission tab, the final submission tab will show or pop up with the details that are being unfilled, right? So every time when you come here, it'll ask us to check the place where the required data is hasn't been filled or partially filled, right? So this is one quick check where you can get to know if some of the compulsorily needed points or needed data are not filled or partially filled. You can come and check here and then finally give your submit button that will come at once you have filled in all the necessary details and the tab comes green in each of the space, right? So this is it with all the tabs. Yeah, thank you so much. All the very best with your applications. Good luck.